does all the paperwork so their wonderful staff can do what they need to do for caring for our animals. But I'm also very involved with some of the local conservation work that happens around the Galveston Bay area and have personal contacts with many of the organizations and the people that you're going to meet in a few minutes here. But I first want to introduce and welcome Jeff Corwin, Emmy Award-winning nature conservationist and superstar to those of us that take care of animals. And here you go, Jeff.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning. So I live in Massachusetts, and I thought I'd bring a little bit of that weather to you this morning. It's actually warmer at home. But I'm delighted to be here at this incredible aquatic wonderland known as Galveston Bay. As you guys know, and hopefully we'll be seeing you later on, and please bring your friends and your families today to our three premieres of Expedition Chesapeake. I think one is at 12:30, then 3 p.m., then 7 p.m. And essentially what Expedition Chesapeake is, it's an odyssey, it's a spectacle. It's been 10 years in the making, and what we do with this film is we use the facade of adventure, exploration, discovery, kind of all those elements of which we are hardwired within ourselves as human beings to explore, to get out there, have fun, engaging with new experiences. We use that as the conduit to tell the tale of the largest and one of the most consequential areas of wetland and aquatic ecosystems on the planet. In fact, the Chesapeake Bay is the largest estuary in the United States. It is more than 200 miles in length. It begins as a small little stream in upstate New York and then bubbles its way down. It literally begins in the back of the Baseball Hall of Fame Museum in New York and then finds its way down the Susquehanna along with 150 other tributaries to form what we call the Chesapeake Bay. It's more than 60,000 square miles in size. It embodies more than, I think, 12,000 miles of coastline. It incorporates 5 or 6 states from Pennsylvania to New York to Maryland. It's home to over 2,000 species. Its historical significance is unmatched. Its significance with regard to natural history, to commerce, to recreational and commercial fisheries. It's annually a multi-billion-dollar year provider when it comes to seafood and oysters. It's where you go to catch your native rockfish, what we call striped bass in Massachusetts. It's a very, very special place that has a very, very important place in our American history. It's also the poster child for many of the challenges we face today when it comes to conservation. So this film uses the adventure thread to stitch together and the big, dramatic, large screen format style, the story of the Chesapeake. So I hope you will enjoy it when you get a chance to see it today. And as you watch this film, which I'm very proud of, that features everything from otters to hellbenders to the blue crab, think about your own backyard, because while the Chesapeake may be the biggest estuary in North America, your backyard is the 7th biggest estuary in North America. And estuaries are very, very important places. This is the Head Start program for aquatic life. Along the shores here, the sands, is where you will find many shorebirds nesting to begin the next generation, or wintering over as they escape the north. This is where your redfish begin their lives, your drums, and many other commercial and recreational fish species. Reptiles, birds, all sorts of animals, nearly 300 fish species, and many other vertebrates and countless invertebrates rely on this ecosystem to survive. But their survival depends upon how you treat this bay. So we know that historically, Galveston Bay has experienced many, many environmental challenges. But we also know that today, which I kind of unfondly look upon the dark days of conservation, especially where we are in the world and how leaders around the world are managing our ecosystems. We are in such a challenge, and I often say we are the last generation to determine what the next generation will have when it comes to natural heritage on our planet. We live in a time where today on your journey, the few hours you'll be in this paddle boat, we will have lost probably 3 species on our planet. We have, in our lifetimes, anyone who is my age, anyone who's around 28, 29 years old, I'm 28, 29 in here. In here, but not here. You will, in your lifetime, seriously, if you're under half a century in age, so I don't even fit in that, unfortunately, we have in that window of time consumed nearly 70% of all life on our planet. I just came from Australia a few weeks ago, and that nation has experienced an unprecedented heat event and bushfire event, which has consumed 1/3 of all their national parks. One national park, which is their most pristine national park, known as Blue Mountain National Park. It's their Yellowstone. That has been destroyed, has been scorched by 90%. Imagine if you went to Yellowstone and 90% of it is gone, which someday it will be because it's on a supervolcano. But anyways, that hopefully it was supposed to blow up about 50K ago, but anyways. I digress. But in Australia, they've lost potentially 24 species extinct because of this event. But that's kind of the teaser, because underneath that fire really shows, as the camel with the straw breaking its back, the underlying conditions that people don't want to look out. And that is the condition of a century poor environmental management. Species that have already been pushed to the brink. Invasive species. The koala has been in trouble long before these fires. Chlamydia, a sexually transmitted disease, has wiped out 2/3 of all koalas. Dogs, on year, kill probably 10 or 15,000 koalas out of a population of 40 or 50. That's significant. Habitat loss, habitat fragmentation. My point is, we see these fires destroying all these koalas. That literally is just the conspiration of the perfect storm of extinction. So I mention that, and we highlight the challenges we face in our planet today. Plastic waste. We, as a species, dump more than 10 billion pounds of plastics into our oceans every year. I mention that not for doom and gloom, but as the reality check, the power of information of where we are, but also the positive story of that there is still hope. There is a chance. This bay today, in some respects, is healthier than it was 20, 30 years ago. I mentioned that in my lifetime, we've consumed more than 2/3 of all life on our planet. Well, in my childhood, and certainly in my parents' young adulthood, they did not see bald eagles or osprey or many other birds that have made profound recoveries. There were no wild turkeys in Massachusetts or deer to hit on your way home from a restaurant in Massachusetts. But these animals have recovered because of the legacy effect of people making a difference both in the government level, at the state and national level, and at the regional community level, but also because of citizen conservationists that come together privately and through NGOs and nonprofits to make a difference. A lot of what you see today that is success and signs of hope are the result of people around us that have worked to restore bird populations, to hold polluters accountable, to educate citizens about the importance of how you use your water and fertilizers and sustain and maintain native habitat. How we've all had learning effects and moments of growing pains from hurricanes. You have, I have in New England, has changed the way we look at the environment around us. So the good news is that despite the challenges we face today, there are people on the front lines that have made it their life's mission. These people here and their groups have raised millions of dollars and have secured thousands of acres of habitat and have helped to save dozens and dozens of species, not just for their passion of natural resources and wildlife, but to ensure that your children and your children's children get to inherit a vibrant and healthy Galveston Bay. It's the spirit of our film, Expedition Chesapeake. You can find the doppelganger of that story right here in your backyard. And remember, despite all the gloom and the genuine things we should be terrified about, we can find glimmers of hope around the world. People that have put their lives in the line to save species. I have known people that have died to save wildlife. And to know that there's that commitment out there for folks who have chosen a path for conservation for all of us is what gives us hope. So on that note, I'm going to turn that back over, and you guys, we're going to have a great time out there, and we're going to explore this incredible resource that I get to visit today, and I'll see you all this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And you guys are going to have a great opportunity to get